family office gives you the advantage of consolidating your assets. Just like you have a doctor who's taking care of your health, you need someone from the investment side to take care of all your assets. Investment is just not, into equities or a fixed income. Investment is safeguarding your assets. That is exactly the meaning and purpose of family office. One of the most important things in an Asian culture is that when you invest or when you allocate your money across different asset classes, whether it is real estate or via, into stock markets or any assets, the head of the family typically decides on the asset allocation model and his preference. And it is not discussed in depth with his family. And this gives, a challenge when the head of family is no more. And that is where everything comes into a turmoil. A couple of decades back, when I was working in one of the leading private sector banks in India as a branch manager, all branches in India have, even outside of India, have a locker system in which people store their valuables. When the locker rent is not paid for a period of few years, then the branch gives an advertisement in the newspaper and then breaks open the locker. And the contents of the lockers are auctioned, because if there is nobody coming forward with a legal claim, they have to necessarily give it off in auction, and then the proceeds go to the central bank. That time I had a first-hand experience of seeing almost 5 to 6 lockers getting opened. And the kind of stuff inside those lockers really shocked me. And this was in a tier 3 town. I found bundles of foreign currency, literally few kilograms of gold, and there was no one obviously to claim it. That was a very, very sad, moment for me. So to avoid this kind of a very, very difficult moment in life, you need to have a family office service. You can't quantify who needs a family office. It could be a senior executive working in a company. It could be an entrepreneur. It could be anyone. It's just like your health, which I said. There are 2 important parameters which I think is very critical in any individual's life. Health is important. Same way wealth is important. Literally everyone needs to have a family office service. In a financial language, you call them as high net worth individuals. These are the people who need dedicated family office services. You have a rising wealth. You have new age millionaires. You have a lot of startup companies which have created wealth. India is a very, very fast growing economy. You have these new age entrepreneurs, not only in India, even outside of India. You have a substantial population of non-resident Indians. And that is where the bigger challenge lies and the opportunity lies for them to look into family office services. NRIs very rarely look at their wealth in India. It could be an ancestral property. It could be multiple things which they have accumulated over their lifetime. Unfortunately, because of lack of attention, because of their, work pressure outside of India and their lack of intention to travel frequently to India, they don't take care of their wealth. Specifically for non-resident Indians, when you have wealth spread across multiple locations, everywhere there is an impact of taxation, there is an impact of legacy, there is an impact on who can inherit your wealth. The rules are different in every different country. So there it becomes a very, very important role to consolidate your investments into a trust services. That is the critical function of our family office. You consolidate your wealth across different jurisdictions, and then you are free of the burden of not losing your wealth because of any untoward incident in any of these jurisdictions. In Asian countries, you have this typical patriarchal setup. There is so much of importance given to a family, but very little importance is given towards safeguarding the wealth of the family. We have seen a lot of cases, whether across Asia, whether it is in Dubai, whether it is in Singapore, whether it is in Hong Kong, Tokyo, where some of the top-notch promoters have passed away without having a will. That creates a mayhem. You will find that there is so much of sibling, family rivalry over the assets. The actual wealth creation done by those entrepreneurs gets frittered away. So when you have this kind of a family mindset, it is kind of a taboo subject. Why do you need it? Okay, some people will say, I'll just have a will. But will is one step in the family office model. It's a basic step. When you get sick, your first guesswork is that I'll take a Panadol or a paracetamol and then I'll get all right. A will is like a paracetamol or a Panadol. It is only a temporary stopgap. You will have to necessarily move towards the next step, which is your trust. And that will safeguard your assets. That will ring fence all your wealth you have created from untoward claims. Will gives you the instruction to pass on the assets. A trust protects your assets. Will and a trust go hand in hand. When you are an entrepreneur or when you are a very senior executive having multiple ESOPs, you are in a very, very senior position. Both these people are subject to unwanted litigations. It could be because of multiple reasons. When you have a trust, when you transfer all your earned wealth into a trust, you are protecting your personal assets from any litigation. So that is an advantage of a trust. And it is a very major advantage. Let's say that tomorrow somebody puts a defamatory case against you and then demands $100 million and the court awards the $100 million as correct and you have to pay that. Okay. If you have a trust, the trust is protected. So in that sense, the trust protects from these kind of frivolous claims. You could be running a business where because of some reason in some jurisdiction, some countries, the government puts a case against you and then says that I want to attach all the assets belonging to you. If you don't have a trust, necessarily you are personally liable and then you lose your wealth, whatever has been accumulated over 20 years, 30 years. A trust protects you from all these kind of stuff. A trust is like a proper kind of a medicine, which is not a paracetamol or a Panadol. It depends on the kind of wealth what you have. If you have a substantial amount of wealth, let's say $50 million, $100 million plus kind of a wealth, you need family office services. If you have, a normal wealth between $1 to $10 million or $20 million, a simple will is enough. You don't need a trust. That's the key difference between, who needs it and who don't need it. End of the day, if you have that kind of a wealth, you need to have the trust. You will have to ensure that you choose the best cost-effective and qualitative personnel to manage family office. If you look at multiple jurisdictions, they have very, very strong privacy laws. That is an important place to set up your family office. If you value your privacy, value your data protection, necessarily these are the jurisdictions which are critical in setting up your family offices. That is where we choose, okay, these are the best people who can be the trustee.